Welcome to thetherapistwebsite.com. This is the first part of a two-part series in how to set up a free website for your startup business. Hi, this is Peter French, and what you're looking at in front of us here is my hypnotherapy webpage. What I'm hoping to show you today is a fairly quick way to get yourself set up on the internet for free. Okay, so the place we're going to go to create this free website is wordpress.com. WordPress.com allows you to create websites that will have a .wordpress.com ending, and that's the only downside really. So I'm just going to call this Peter French Hypno because I don't know what else to call it, and let's go ahead and create it. So on this page, once you've set up your site address, then you need to set up an email, a username and a password. Once you set them up, just go on to next step, and that's created your account. Where it's saying find a custom address, that's if you actually want to pay for your own .com, .me, .co or anything else like that. So what we can just do is say no thanks. Now we can choose a theme. You can change the theme later, so I'm just going to go with this pen scratch. I've no idea what it's going to look like, but we'll cope with it and we'll load up another theme if we need to. So let's select that, and then when we get to here we want to go for the free blog. We don't need any special things in there at all. We just go for select free, and it, as it says, never expires. And that's it. When you've signed in and you've created your website or blog, call it what you will, you get something sent to you in your email like this. So from wordpress.com, and all you need to do with that is say activate your account. All you're doing with that is saying to them, yep, you've sent me an email and you've come to the right place. So you can now just sign in. The first thing to notice about this screen is on the top left here there's a My Sites and a Reader button, and they're different functions. The one that we want for this is My Sites. This interface that we've got on this page is all okay, but a nicer one and a slightly more complete version is this WP admin interface. Okay, doesn't look quite as pretty, but it's pretty functional and it's something to get used to because it's got a lot of useful things in there. Something useful to know about this WP admin section is that if you hover over the My Sites at the top there, there's an option for View Site. That allows you to click and go to the website that you've actually created right now. And to get back to the dashboard, you'll see the black line along the top, hover over My Sites and go back to WP admin, and that gets you back to this area where you can build and maintain your website. Right, before we do anything else, I'm going to change the theme. The theme that I want to have here is one called 2012. It's very straightforward, works quite nicely. So the idea is we just scan down this list here, scroll on down until we find 2012. There we go, there's 2012. I'm going to activate that theme. So the site that I'm going to create is going to look a little bit like you're seeing on the screen here for 2012. What I want to have is a home page that actually describes what we want to describe as our business page. There'll be an about page to talk either about the business or about yourself. Then I'll have another page for the blog. By default it puts the blog on the front page. We change that using the settings down here. So from settings, I've got my site title set to Peter French. I've got my tagline, that's a little bit that gets displayed underneath the site title, set to One More Way to Do Things. We can set up the date format here and the time format and your default language. So set those to what you want and save it. That's basically setting what goes in the header. There are a few other things we can do with the header, but we'll stick with that for now. It's nice and straightforward. So if I go to hover over the top there and we go and have a look, then you can see that's the site title that's come up. That's what they're calling the tagline, and it defaults to having home and about, and the home page defaults to having all your blog on, and the about page is a page about yourself, and you can go and edit that one quite happily. Right, so to set that into the way that I want it, I'm going to need 2 more pages. So we can create a brand new page, add new, and we're going to call this one home. And we're going to click the publish button. You could save it as a draft if you wanted, but we're just going to publish this because we need to get the structure built. Okay, then we'll add another one that we're calling blog. Okay, we're going to publish that blog page. We don't need to add anything on there. We just publish it and wait for the little spinny thing to finish. Okay, so down in settings, reading, we're going to set this up. Front page defaults to this latest posts. I want it to become a static page, a description of my business. So we're going to call that the home page that we've created. The post page is now going to go on to what we created as the blog page. And this is a default of how you would set up all the other things. We'll let those go for now and just save the page. Okay, so if we now hover over here and do view site, then you can see our home page is the home page that we created. The about page is still the about page that was there. The blog page now has got the list of blogs on. You get this one default blog in there. The thing I'm going to show you how to set up now is the sidebar. The sidebar is what's referred to as a widget area, and that's in the appearance widgets. So there are 3 widget areas on this theme: the main sidebar, and then there's some things for a special version of the front page. We're going to look at the main sidebar, and the first thing I'm going to add to that is a text box. There we go, text box, and we'll drag that over. Onto the main sidebar. This is just my example, so I'm just going to put opening times in there. I've actually got a few to save you falling asleep going through my typing. There we go. I want to automatically add paragraphs on this one, otherwise it'll just run them all together. So I'll do save. That's done that. When we go back to here and refresh that page now, you'll see that that text has come up on the right hand side, and that'll be on each of our pages, and that's quite useful to us. So it's quite handy for having your contact details on, opening times, all of those sorts of things that you want people to see no matter where they are on the website. If you are going to use a blog, and you don't have to, but if you are, then something you can do is add some blog controls into that sidebar, and that's pretty straightforward too. So if I go back to that widgets, we'll just pop that one up, and then this archives one is the widget archives, so we can put that in our sidebar, and we can also put our recent posts. And we'll put the archives display as a drop down and save it, and we'll put the number of posts in the list on the right hand side just to 5, and then we'll save that. So when we go back over here, refresh that page, you can see we've still got our opening times there, but we've got archives and recent posts. If you're not interested in a blog, you don't have to add those things in, and that would save you one more thing on there. So we've got a home page that we can have, we've got control of the text and any graphics that we want to add to there. We've got an about page again that we want to do, and you can see that that's pretty straightforward stuff. Okay, so we're back in the dashboard right now, and I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to edit pages, how to add text, how to add graphics. So if we go back to pages and we go onto our home page, we know that there's not an awful lot there. There's two parts to this editor. One is text, and that's where you can actually enter HTML if you want to do that, or you can just work on the visual editor, which is what people usually do. So you've seen already we can add in text just as in a word processor, and up at the top here you can actually make things bold, italics, you could add bulleted lists, by highlighting and click on the bulleted list icon at the top here. So there's all sorts of formatting things that you can actually play with there. The other thing that you could do with knowing about is adding graphics. So if we do add media, then we get to the media manager, and this, as you can see, says drop files anywhere to upload. Now I've got a graphic of myself here, so you might want to turn away, but if we drag and drop that one onto there, you can see it's uploaded that pretty quickly, and that's there. One of the things to make sure of with all of these graphics is just to be a bit careful about the sizes. You want those to be as small as you can so that they're clear, just to help the speed of loading your web pages. So it's got that in now, it's selected as you can see, and we just click on down the bottom, insert into page, and you can see there's the graphic, it's gone into the page. If you click on that graphic, you can actually edit what happens with text going around it. So at the moment there's no formatting for that graphic, so any text just goes in line with the bottom of the graphic. If, for instance, you want to make it left aligned by clicking that, you'll find that text will flow around it. If I copy and paste this little bit of text, you'll see pretty much how that goes. So the text there is flowing around it. We can align center, in which case it just puts the graphic in the middle. All the text that was alongside it is now below it. You can right align your graphic, and that puts the graphic to the right, as the text on the left, as you're getting the idea of. That's where we started, no alignment. And if you wanted that, you can actually just do an enter after that and your text goes down there. You can have a play with that, there's nothing that you can break there. Something that you can do when you click on the graphic, you can edit a couple of things. Something that is worth editing is where the link associated with that graphic goes to. I tend to set that to none, but that might be something you want to change. And if you think the graphic's a bit too big, you can actually just drag and drop it to change the size. So you can see from that, if I do an update on that, there's a slight difference between what you see on the screen and what you get on your website. So if I go hover over the My Sites, do View Site, you can see what we've got there. It's a little bit different because of the width of the screen, but as we change the width of the screen, everything tends to flow around a little bit anyway. So everything changes a bit. So that's pretty much where you are for inserting anything you want in there, to say anything you want on this page, on your about page. The blog is a different thing. You do blog pages, and I'll get to that next. So we'll go back to WP Admin and we'll go and create a blog post. So we'll do Add New. So the title of the blog, my first blog post, and then we just put a bit of text in. Along with misspellings and corrections. And this, as you can see, has every editing facility that pages have. Posts are just treated in a slightly different way. So we can actually insert graphics via the same mechanism. So if we want to upload files, you can drop them onto there and we can drop a graphic in. When it's updated it, we can insert that graphic into the post and do the same things that you saw with the pages. So I'll leave that set to none and I'll set that one to none. Update it and do a publish. Okay, it's now telling me that we've published a second post on the blog there. You can add tags and categories to blogs. We can actually just leave that for now. And we'll go back to, this is a blog post that we've just created. If I click on the blog area there, you can see that we've got two things in the list now. My first blog post, which is the one that I wrote, and Hello World, which is the one that they gave us free. And you can see in our sidebar down here that my first blog post is there, so, and Hello World is there. So when we click on that, it takes us to the actual text for that. So that's a really quick entry into the world of blog posting. There's so much information out there, you'll find that very, very easily. As you can see, you've now got a way of controlling your website. And what you can see from here, that if I type in www.peterfrenchhypno.wordpress.com, then I'll actually get back to this website. So if I type in www.peterfrenchhypno.wordpress.com, then we get to this blog that I've just created, and you can do the same thing. You can actually put that on your business cards or your flyers if you want, and that's one way to get yourself up and running for free, and that should get you going. I'll be doing another blog in a week or so that'll show you how to fine tune this lot if you don't get there first and work it all out for yourself. So, have a nice week.